Okay, here we are. Power meter. Is it worth getting a power meter? Well, look, in my opinion, absolutely. I run a Stages, and I've got to tell you, it's the best bit of kit I can say you can buy for your bike. All right, the power will give you exactly what you're doing at that particular time. Okay, so let's just run through this one here. So for this ride, my average watts were 248 watts. Now there's two. You've got your one down here, which is your power. Your average power was 240, and then you've also got 248 average weighted power. Now this is the one, this weighted power, that's the one you want to concentrate on. Okay, because that is an accumulation of the whole ride. So whether you're going uphill, downhill into a headwind, the different terrains, it adds all that up, it calculates all of that and gives you an average power for the total ride time. Okay, so that's the one you really want to be concentrating on. And the more rides you go out and do, once you get your power meter, it isn't necessarily going to make you a brilliant rider to start with. All right, you're not, just because you put a power meter on, it isn't going to make you get faster. It's not going to say all of a sudden overnight you turn into Lance Armstrong just because you stick a power meter on. All right, so what it will do is it will enable you to build up a picture of the sort of watts you're able to hold for a given time. Now, once you get your power meter, you'll obviously be uploading it to something like Strava, like this, or Garmin Connect. So there's lots of different things. You've got all these graphs. It tells you, so this one, for instance, I spent 13 minutes in the range of between 250 and 274 watts. 11% of the time, 11% that is, like 13% that is. 11% of the time, 275 to 299 watts. 10% of the time, 300 to 324 watts. Okay, and then you go further and further down. So it was 4.5% at 375 to 399 watts, and then as you go on. Okay, so start to learn these graphs. Once you start looking at all of this, this is how you build up the picture in your head as to what sort of watch you can hold. Okay, so let's go back to overview. I'll just have a quick look now. Average speed, everyone, I'll just quickly go on this. Average speed, everybody wants to get a high average speed. Now on this ride, I averaged 32.8 k's an hour. Okay, it was solo, it was a solo ride, a lot of headwind, but that doesn't make any difference. The point is, I can still hold 248 watts. All right, now if you want to get your average speed up, you got to get this number up. The higher that goes, the higher that will eventually go. Right, now I used to ride on with my Garmin 510. I used to have my speed up there along with power. All I have now on my screen is my power and my cadence. That is all I have on there. What I was finding when I had the speed on there as well is, in my head I was saying, if we're popping along at say 30-35 k's an hour, and thinking, we can go a bit faster. All right, so then you put a bit more power down and you're trying to get that little bit faster, whereas that tires you out quicker. Whereas if you have just your watts on the screen, you can know those numbers, you can know what you're able to hold for a given time, and you can just sit on those numbers. And that is why now I only have the power on the screen. So well and truly worth investing in a Stages power meter. This is the one I use, a Stages. The other ones are probably as good. I don't know. I haven't ever used them. I don't know anyone that's got them, but all I know is about the Stages one. Well and truly worth it. But I'll just show you a quick idea once you get your this is the ride. So this is some of the segments on the ride. So let's just have a look at this first one here. This is called Phil's Foremost. It's 3.3 k's long. The time it takes me to do it was 6:32. Now I did that at an average speed of 30.6 k's an hour, and my watts that I put out were 246 watts average. All right, so that way you can start to build up a picture. You think to yourself, 3.3, 3.5 k's, I can sit on around 246, 250 watts, and you're going to be able to hold it comfortably. Whereas if you're up the front leading a pack, for instance, and you're creeping that up to closer to 280, 300 watts, you might not be able to hold that. So you can then look at it and pull it back to this sort of more comfortable range for you. All right, so let's have a look at another one. Just briefly, let's see what we've got here. Here's one. Look, Wynnum Road, 3.6 kilometers long. It's 5 minutes 44. Average speed of 37.8 kilometers an hour and 270 watts. So again, I know if I'm in a situation where I'm bombing along, I know I can comfortably hold this 270 watts, 280 watts for about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, so in any situation, then you can sit on that power and know you're comfortable there. But again, once you start to go over it, you can say to yourself, well, I'm going outside of what I'm comfortable with, and then you can drop it back down to bring it into a more comfortable range for you. So that is the beauty of a power meter, and it's not just about getting the power meter and going out on some rides. You've got to get the power meter on, go out on some rides, and then you've got to come back to this. You've got to come back to your account, whether it be in your Garmin or your Strava, and you've got to look your numbers up and start to build a picture up in your head as to what you can hold for a given time. So there you go. Hope that's been of some help to you. Go out and get yourself a power meter and enjoy that cycling.